You're listening to the Quran Tafsir, Understanding the Word of Allah, a podcast dedicated to explaining the Quran, presented by various reliable scholars. This podcast is powered by Seekers Hub Global. Visit seekershub.org for online courses, our Q&A service with reliable scholars, and engaging media.
Part 1, inshallah.
Okay, alhamdulillah.
So similar to that is the verse 34.
Mm-hmm.
Men are the protectors of women.
The ayah is not saying man are protectors of women. We'll come to this ayah. But the ayah doesn't say men are protectors of women. It said, الرجال قوامون على النساء. Look, this, in any small organization, there should be at the end a single voice that decides. Otherwise, our deen is based on shura. If Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has to consult his companions, then even in the house there should be this consultation. However, there should be a last word for someone. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Neither marriage, nor family, nor company, nothing will go. But that man has to be responsible as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't give to every man. Allah made a lot of conditions for this. Man, why the talaq is in the hands of man, not a woman? Why? Do you know why? Subhanallah, whenever they get upset, they want to give talaq. This is something that we agree upon, all my sisters, or not? Whenever they are upset, khalas, I don't want you, you are divorced. Khatam, finish. And then they regret it. If we say this 3 chances, then 3 chances in one day they are gone. So there is no marriage. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said it should be in the hands of a man. But if the man is behaving like a woman, then there is another thing as well. Because this emotions, Allah has given it. And it is a beauty of woman. It's not weakness. It's not weakness at all. Many sisters, they want to go away from this. They want to rebel, to say, I'm strong, and they want to go. This is against the nature that Allah has created you. That is the beauty of it. Subhanallah. And because of this beauty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given women a lot of khair. For Allah's sake, even the spirituality of man will not be, subhanallah, no matter how great they are, spiritually it cannot be like the spirituality of woman. Subhanallah. This is the only relationship between the heavens and the earth is during woman's pregnancy. Men, they don't get pregnant. So when we say, we suffer. Yeah, you're suffering, but also you have this connection. Ruh, malaika coming in the womb. The ruh of Allah subhanahu comes from Allah subhanahu. This is a great blessing. So the ayah doesn't say men are protectors. The ayah says, qawwamun. They have the last word. But this is after going through a lot of consultation. It's not like from this is my way. That is haram. That is not allowed. And there is a clear ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, عاشروهن بالمعروف. You see, Allah said, وَعَاشِرُهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. If you stop writing, just ishra is not living together, but living together with love. That we call the ishra. When people live together, they love each other, they care for each other. This is called ishra. And always they say, even the love itself is a result of this. For long term, living together. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't say, live with your wives, with your spouses. Allah said, عاشروهن. Live with them with love and respect and honor. And then Allah said, bil ma'ruf. Ma'ruf. What is this ma'ruf? Ma'ruf is what is known. Subhanallah. Allah didn't say to us to live the way people were living before us. For every single time it has got its own rules. For example, When you say the rights of, we speak about rights and responsibilities, they vary from one community to another, from one generation to another. So it is adaptable. This deen, you live in it, because the deen is a living thing. What was then, what we have today, it's not going to be the same tomorrow. But as far as it is something that is acceptable within the society, this is ma'ruf. Ma'ruf means something that is acceptable within the society. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to give mahar for women is a matter of dignity, compulsory. But Allah didn't say what to give them. When there is a problem, then what you go? You go to what is common within the society, what is acceptable. Mashi? Didn't say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said even a simple thing, and then you go, you say, yeah, no, it is something that is acceptable. So the ayah doesn't say, protectors. This is the interpretation of people. And if it is a protectors as well, it is good. What's wrong if a man was to protect his wife? Subhanallah, that is his duty. Wallah, I will be happy if someone is going to say, I will die for you, I will do everything for you. Subhanallah, why people will be very sensitive with that? Okay. قوامون على النساء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala بما فضل الله به بعضهم على بعض. This tafdeel with what Allah has preferred, some of them over another. Allah has preferred women over men in some issues, and Allah has preferred men over women in some issues. Some of them, they can take responsibility. Likewise, that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't trust man to deal with kids. More the responsibility is in mothers, because they need a gentle care. Gentle care. When it comes to other issues, there is things that the man can do, and this is we complete each other. This is how it should be. This is how it should be. In the name of justice, sometimes we lose even the direction. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you 4 kids, one of them is 5 years old, another one is 15 years old, another one is 20 years old, another one is 30 years old, do you say, I give them the same pocket money in the name of justice? Or you buy for them the same size of clothes in the name of justice? Justice is relevant. We have to put always the human factor into it. You see, as far as there is no dhulm in both sides. So this is the deen, this is the sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the ayah is very clear. And in fact, Allah said, bima anfaq, as far as they are spending. And Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayhi says, if the husband is not spending in the house, his wife can live without his permission and go and work. He had the right to ask for a permission because he's spending. The same thing goes even with the issue of mirath. All what they look people is the girl is taking half of a man. They don't understand. Okay, Bismillah. If I have Mohammed and Fatima, their father died and he left 1,500. Ali is taking 1,000, Fatima is taking 500. Now, this poor Ali, when he gets married, he will pay mahar. The mahar might be 1,000. He's paying it to whom? To another woman. And then he has to spend. Fatima, her 500 is in her pocket. When she gets married, she will take mahar. She's not going to give mahar. And her money, and even when she gets married, her husband, he doesn't have any rights in her money. She can tell him that anyway. That is according to deen. So subhanallah, but for Muhammad, when he gets married, he has to spend. That is his sole responsibility. He just say, Ya Fatima, you have the 500. She said, that is my money. I don't have to share it with you. So there is, when we take one single ayah, our understanding will be very narrow. And that the way we understand the deen is, we take collective ayat and the collective hadiths and we understand it together. Inshallah? We'll go through it, inshallah. Right? Inshallah. We'll touch all Surah Nisa, inshallah, and then we'll come back, inshallah. Right. And also in this surah, Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about this is the regulations. In this surah, Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us who we are allowed to marry and who we are not allowed to marry. And there are things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them haram in the Quran, which is your family members, your in-laws and this. And also Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made haram your brothers and your sisters from breastfeeding, rada'a. Huh? Milk, brother in milks. Okay, that's good. It makes it easier. Milk brothers. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam made it haram upon them to get married to each other. This in this surah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes into details who you are allowed to marry and who you are not allowed to marry. And also in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the and I think it's very much good to explain this ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, الرجال قوامون على النساء. Men have the final word. This is what I was saying. Final word in the family issues. Always. And but this is after consulting, after discussing. At least in order to have the final word, you have to have 2-3 options. In all the 3 options, the issue will go to be not about good or bad, if they are about preferability. You understand? For example, we are choosing something. Okay, so we say let us take a simple thing. We wanted to buy something. Even so, this has got nothing to do with man. Anything to do with the house, it is issue to do with women. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said biyutihinna. The house, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has related to women. So he doesn't have a say in this. Huh? Yeah, you see now with this, subhanallah. Yeah. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have rahmah in one of our mashayikh. Subhanallah, yani, we've been going to his house and he didn't move anything from the furniture from its place. Wallah. So there was a kind of anyway. And he was saying, how can she died? Subhanallah, we didn't see his wife because when we came we were children, and she died. And subhanallah, so he was not taking care of the things. He was very much careful to keep everything in its place. And he was saying, Allah said, biyutihinna. Allah related the house to them, not to me. Subhanallah. So there is this great adala. They have, but there are issues. And at the end, when we have options, we cannot go like in a circle of discussion, endless. Someone has to take responsibility. And taking decision is not, Wallahi al-Azim, if it was me, I would be very happy if someone was to take the responsibility of taking the decision from me. Subhanallah. Why would we? Because to take, because it might go right and it might go wrong as well. And both ways, the one that will take us the decision is going to be responsible of that. And if my sisters were to be wise, they wouldn't be upset with this. But because Allah has given them the right as well, the right is for both of them. But at the end, someone has to take the decision. Okay? Right. Allah said, بِمَا فَضَّ اللَّهُ بَعْضٍ وَبِمَا أَنفَقُوا مِنْ أَمْوَالِهِمْ. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that's very single ayah, that Ibrahim, she memorized even the number of the ayah, mashallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, there are some wives, you have no right with them. This is what I want you to understand. People, they read the ayah, they don't understand. I want you to understand. Allah فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهِ said, the righteous wives, the good wives. He said, Allah has protected them, they are protected. You've got no way to them. No way, the man has got no say to change anything about them. Does that make sense? I'm not quite sure what your English translation is saying. So I'm dealing with the Quran. You're dealing with the translation. So Allah said, and if you want, you can read with me, inshallah. فَالصَّالِحَاتُ قَانِتَاتٌ حَافِظَاتٌ لِلْغَيْبِ بِمَا حَفِظَ اللَّهِ. Allah said, the righteous ones, those who stand with absolute purity in their ibadah, they protect you in your absence. And Allah warning the man. So Allah is telling him, you have got no way to touch them, to get closer to them. You've got no way to them. Mashi? Is this clear? And with this it goes another ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ما على المحسنين من سبيل. Repeat with me. ما على المحسنين من سبيل. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you've got no way to interrupt the life of the good doers. So, please understand this. The first part, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, the last word for a man. The ayah, the second part of this ayah, Allah speaking about the righteous ones. You've got no way with them. All what they are doing is right. You've got no right to touch, not to touch them, to touch what they are doing in any way. In fact, Allah is warning you. Allah is saying, these are qanitat, these are pious ones. You've got nothing to do with them. Okay? Is this clear? So can you tell me what have you understood from this ayah so far? The first part is that Allah is saying the last word is for the man. This is one. And we said when Allah said the last word, it doesn't mean that from the very beginning designed the life of the family the way He wants. No. Imagine, let us see how the life was during the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When the man came and he gave one of his children a piece of land, his wife, she said, you cannot give my son something except Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam have to see it. When they went to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked him, do you have any other kids? He said, yes. Did you give all your kids the same? The man said, no. Then he said, do you want me to be a false witness? Do you want me to be your partner in dhulm? So this is the wife that has stopped the man from giving his money. That is his money. He can give whoever he wants. He can choose from his children. But other mother, she stopped him and she took him to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Okay. So the first part, what we said is Allah gave him the final word. Well, after discussion, because Allah gave him the final word. Allah didn't give him the power to design the life of the family. To say do this or don't do this. No one had the right. Imagine how many hadiths do you have Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say to Sayyidah Aisha, Ya Aisha, you are late. Where were you? Subhanallah. If it was to be the wrong understanding that we have for this ayah, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wouldn't say that. She wouldn't leave without his permission. One day she was late. She said, I was in the wedding of Al-Ansar. Which means Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't know. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his life was not controlling one. He didn't control the lives of people. No. For Allah's sake, Abdurrahman ibn Auf radiyallahu anhu, once he was wearing a perfume and there was kind of yellow color in his qamis. So the culture was, man wouldn't wear a colored perfume at that time. So Rasulullah, when he saw this, said, Mahyam, what is this? Normally men, they don't do that. Said, Ya Rasulullah, I am a groom, Ya Rasulullah. I've got married. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then you have to make walima. Yani Rasulullah didn't tell him, who made your nikah? You didn't ask me. And it was a small community. He gave them a room to live their life. He wasn't controlling their life. Do you understand this? If that is for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do you really think Allah will give the right to a normal man called husband to design the life and to control the life of his family? This is dimag kharab hai. This is no aql. Wallahi, no aql to think this way. Wallahi, no aql to think this way. Allah will never give a man, because you are husband, you control the life of the family, do whatever you want. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. This is sickness. And because some men, it suits them, this is how they interpreted it. And it is masakin, even our sister, they went with this. And as I say, I return it back to the sisters. Why we didn't have these problems? Because they used to be ulama. They used to give ijazas. Imagine Imam Bukhari took one of his ijazah from one of his mashayikh was a woman. Imam Shafi'i was going to say that Nafisa. So you're not dealing just like this. So the first part of this ayah is Allah is giving him the final word. You're not giving him the whole word. Mashi. So قوامون على النساء. And if this in the English translation they are protectors, good, alhamdulillah. Protector means you protect me. It doesn't mean that you control me. Mashi? But there are ishra, how you live is adab, how you live. It is an art, yes, how to live. The woman can be smarter than man. Sayyida Asma bint Abi Bakr radiyallahu anha, when the man came and he said, can I sell some of the miskin? He was a villager, farmer. He came and he saw their house was very in a strategic, in a corner of the city. So whoever comes in and goes out, he said, can I sell my things outside your house? She said, ask me when my husband comes. So when Zubair came, Zubair was lying down, the man came and said, Salaam alaikum, can I sell my fruit outside your house? Said Asma turned against the man. She said, you didn't find any other place other than my house? Why are you asking me? The man was shocked. And Zubair said, what's wrong? Let him sell. Why are you stopping? Why are you stopping him? The man said, what happened, ma'am? You asked me. She said, my husband is a jealous man. If I was to allow you, he was to be upset with you. But this way, khalas. So who is managing now? Who is managing? Asma is managing. With aql you can manage everyone. But if you say my right, you're right, then khalas, the only way you will live in a court. MashaAllah, welcome. That is what you do. If you say my right, you're right, then alhamdulillah, you don't need your house. You just, MashaAllah, you book a place, you live near the court. The judge, alhamdulillah, you give them a lot of job. That's how it is. Do you really want that in your life? Subhanallah. Subhanallah. And also by the time people, they trust each other and they love each other, they care for each other. This is what we have to have. Look, in Quran, Allah gave us two things. Marriage is more than all this, they say, than kids, than care, than this. Allah said two things are with marriage. جَعَلَ بَيْنَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Love and mercy. Love without mercy can be selfish. And you can love something about someone, but the thing that you love about them, by the time they might disappear. Isn't it? Then that rahmah remains. So it cannot be rahmah only, and it cannot be love only. You need these two. This is how it should be. So if Allah is saying, Allah made between you love and mercy, do you really think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, the man, you have all the right to do whatever you want? Will you accept it in any authority to say this? So what you cannot accept from anyone, you shouldn't accept it from Allah, because Allah is the absolute just. Mashi? So the first one we said is, Allah gave the last word. Okay? And the second, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, the righteous ones, The pious ones, you've got no way to them as far as they're doing the right thing. ماشي؟ Then it comes وَاللَّاتِي تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنَّ. What is nushuz? Nushuz is rebellion, disobedient, those who want to go around. And I want you to stop writing, please. If Allah wanted, if things to be easy, if the woman is disobedient, if the woman is rebellious, if the woman is, because nushuz is a bad thing, someone that runs away, not care of her responsibilities. Okay. If the deen was to say, if she is nauseous, then just divorce her. Do you think will a family live like this? Because there will be a moment for all of us. A man will be nauseous, a woman will be nauseous. The moment, this is how it is. We are not control of all our reactions. We are not. Things happen. So Allah said, وَاللَّاتِي تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنَّ. So now we are speaking about the second type of wives. He said, this as تَخَافُونَ, that you are worried that they might do something unexpected. But not only you imagine, but something that you have. Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us from doubts. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you are coming from outside, do not just go to the house. Because some of the Arabs, they used to be very jealous. They used to suspect. Say, let me go, open the door. Let me see what's happening in my house. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, this is not allowed. So he used to say, send some children before you. Say, I'm coming. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, they can take care of themselves. They can prepare themselves. SubhanAllah. Giving this kind of respect and honor, Sayyidi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if she's from the second type of woman, Allah didn't tell you just go divorce and end this life. Allah said, فَعِذُهُنَّ. فَعِذُهُنَّ is a period of mu'idhah. It might be counseling, it might be discussing, it might be, Allah said, عِذُهُنَّ, sit. Remind them of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tell them, give them mu'idhah. What you are doing is not right. What you are doing is not good. Okay? This is a period. Then Allah said, if that didn't work, Allah said, فَهْجُرُهُنَّ فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ. Yani, even while you are in the same place of sleep, just turn your back. Okay? And I'm still speaking, we are speaking about the second type of woman. And then it comes to the third. That Allah said, فَضْرِبُهُنَّ. This hitting that is making all these problems. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not saying hit. Here, this controversy is very important for us to discuss. We cannot hide it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking to you about a process. The physical intervention, that is, first of all, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't hit neither one of the Sahaba, except some is related, to some of them. One incident. And in Islam, it is haram to hit someone's face. Whether it is a child or an old, it's haram. It is haram also to hit children. It is not allowed in our deen. But this, some of the ulama, they say by taraf al-imama, just a matter of humiliation with your imama. Some of them, they say with your miswak. But all this is interpretation. All this is interpretation. And for us, the urf, what is acceptable within the community is part of the Sharia. Does that make sense? What is acceptable within the community? It is not acceptable in our community, it's not acceptable in our community. Finish. Finito. Khalas. But it comes to you one point. Our fuqaha say, she's upset, she's angry, she want to leave. You're using your physical thing you're stopping her. Some fuqaha, they say that stopping is by itself unf, is violence. That stopping is violence. Because imagine when Sayyida al-Fadl bint Sayyidina Hussein, Rasulullah said, you've hurt me. That was hurt. We are speaking about a very soft community. You know, even when they say this issue of lashing, the whole understanding of other Sharia became lashing. How do you lash people? Even in Sharia. You put this here. This is how it should be. This is how far you can go. From here to here. How far you go. So it's not a matter of torturing people. It is just humiliating them, making them feel like humiliation. Little bit of humiliation. Nothing else. Nothing else. So this is how it should be in Sharia. This one has to be attached to this. And this is even to those who drink khamr, to those who commit zina, to the big things. Let alone for this. So I would say, no hitting at all. Because the urf leads us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah was speaking about the process. Process with the nashiza. With the nashiza. Because what we know is the nashiza is violent more than the man himself. Okay, so Allah is not speaking, this is not for every single one. Mashi? And yet, we go back to say, the main thing for us is, we go back to the teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, خيركم خيركم لأهله. The best of you are the best to their wife. Will I be the best of my wife if I'm hitting my wife? So you bring all the hadiths. There are some people, their life is like this. And you really do not know. And subhanallah, and some people, their life is like this. They have all this argument and fighting and this. It goes to this. And they go even sometimes physical. So the Sharia is not, do not think everything is about me. Everything about me. This ayah is speaking about me. This ayah is against me. No, that is not the case. That's not the case. And the responsibility that are in man's shoulder are much more greater than women in this team. Does that make sense? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala went through this process. Okay, then Allah said, فَإِنْ أَطَعْنَكُمْ فَلَا تَبْغُوا عَلَيْهِنَّ سَبِيلًا إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلِيًّا كَبِيرًا. Even while you are going through this, if you see them coming down, Allah didn't give you a way to fight them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, after this long process, وَإِنْ خِفْتُمْ شِقَاقَ بَيْنِهِمَا فَابْعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. And Allah said, if within themselves they have a long term, they shouldn't solve it themselves. Look, we said the righteous one, he doesn't have any right upon her. And then the nashiza, the one, and he can be nashiz as well. So whenever he speaks, Allah is speaking about both. So these two, they go through this process. Maw'idha, hajr, and even they went physical to that. That physical is much more, no matter how bad it is, the physical between them, at least if they have patience, it is much more better than divorce and breaking the families. This shows you the family unity. This is what the deen is speaking about. If this didn't work within them, then they seek external help. And this external help, she chooses a wise person from her family, and he chooses a wise person from his family. So at least, because sometimes they might not understand each other. So when someone comes from outside, they can listen to them both. And Allah said, in yurida islahan yuwaffiq Allah baynahuma. If they wanted khair, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bring them together. Okay. If all this didn't work, Allah said then if they divorce, Allah might replace him with someone better, and Allah might replace her with someone better. So this is all the ayah that is going from the very beginning, giving you detailed. And as I'm telling you, when Allah speaks about the whole society, different classes, different backgrounds, different understanding, you understand? And You cannot say everyone is the same, every family is the same, every single. No, they are not the same. People are different. So this is the process that it is going. Do you have to go through all this process? No. At the beginning, if you are going with love and ishra bil ma'ruf, you don't even need none of this. But some people, they say, why this is in the Quran? I say the Quran is for all times. The Quran is for all times. And many things in the Quran was in some time. We might not have it now. They might have it in people in the future. Or they might have it people before us. But the guidance is the same. So for example, you can skip, this is what I'm saying. Okay, skip this issue. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Allah has given you maw'idha, stage, hajr, stage, the physical interaction, stage, the bringing outsiders, stage. You don't have to do all the stages. You can just pass some of the stages. But it is all these options. Look at what is the purpose of them. The purpose of them is people not to go and jump to divorce. That is the purpose of it. Mashi, have I answered?
Create more questions.
Good, alhamdulillah. So why don't you do something? I will be very happy. These questions are good. It helps me and it helps you. It helps even the fiqh. Every time, keep these questions inshallah ta'ala, and then we'll go inshallah. Okay? After this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayat speaks as well about the foundation of a community and society. Foundation of community and society. Foundation of community and society is, Allah said two things: solidarity and rahmah. Rahmah and solidarity. This is the foundation. And we see this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, speaking about Uthman ibn Talha radiyallahu anhu, the key of the Kaaba used to be in Bani Shayba. The key of the Kaaba. So Uthman ibn Talha was against Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam all his life. When Allah opened for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam Makkah, Sayyidina al-Abbas asked as well for Bani Hashim to have the keys. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah Rabbil ayah, Inna Allah ya'murukum an tu'addu al-amanati ila ahliha. Allah commands you to give people their rights. Islam increases you. Do not take it from them. Even if it is for Bani Hashim, for Abbas. So the key of the Kaaba, even so Sayyidina Abbas and Bani Hashim, they wanted it. Sayyidina Ali wanted it very badly. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave it to Uthman ibn Talha. And with this, what do we understand is, even so Sayyidina Ali is much deserving of having the key. This is Ali. He has never, that's why they say Sayyidina Ali karramallahu wajhahu. Most of the Sahaba, they made sujood for the statues, except for Sayyidina Ali. He did not. He was born inside the Kaaba, and he was looked after by Sayyidi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he used to, subhanallah, he said even before Islam, he said, I used to see and hear a stone giving salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And yet Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't give him the key gave it to the other family. This is solidarity. You divide the khair between people for the common good. You don't keep everything in one. Does that make sense? Now most people, they want to keep things only in their family, in their this. SubhanAllah, things has to spread for the common good. And this is part of the rahmah. And also in this ayah, as I was speaking about the man, one of the things in this ayah is that the foundation of every of the right governance is justice. Okay, one of the things that this ayah speak about is the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam's maqam with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. At least we see it in the ayat, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِن رَسُولٍ إِلَّا لِيُطَاعَ بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we did not send a messenger, any messenger other than to be obeyed. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the Sahaba, if any one of you was to commit a sin or to wrong themselves, if they were to come to you, Ya Rasulullah, and seek Allah's forgiveness, and you seek Allah's forgiveness for them, they would find Allah all forgiving, most merciful. And I think we spoke about this ayah. And also in this ayat, it speaks about the obeying Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, whoever obeys the messenger, he has obeyed Allah. And also Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala in this surah warns us from the munafiqeen. And in this surah as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam permission to defend himself and to defend the believers. Before, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was not allowed to fight back. And he used to say to Quraysh, 13 years of torture, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam didn't fight. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and speaks about the munafiqeen, and also speaks about in this surah also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about the crime of killing. And some people, they say honor killing or this. There is no honor in any violence. It is haram. Killing someone is musibah. And the warning is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَنْ يَقْتُلْ مُؤْمِنًا مُتَعَمِّدًا فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمَ خَالِدًا فِيهَا. Whoever kills a mu'min in purpose, they will remain in Jahannam forever. May Allah save us. May Allah save us. May Allah save us. And this is something became now very cheap. People, they don't care about human life. May Allah save us. It is dangerous. Also, it speaks about the importance of hijrah in this surah. There is some few beautiful stories that inshallah I would like to share with you about Tu'mah ibn Ubayriq. Inshallah, if Allah give us long life, inshallah, maybe one day after Ramadan, just write the name. Inshallah, we'll speak about it. His name is Tu'mah ibn Ubayriq. This is the Jewish man that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ruled for him. It's a different story than the other story, and it shows the justice of this deed. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also in this surah speaks about Jannah is not something that people only they wish for, and I wish for Jannah, I wish for Jannah. Jannah is something that people have to work hard for, and they have to, as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Jannah is surrounded with and Jahannam is surrounded with desirable things. So it's all going against your desires. And also in this ayah, many of my sisters, they don't see it, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is a great warning from oppressing women. That's why it's called Surat an-Nisa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ مُحِيطًا ويستفتونك في النساء قل الله يفتيكم فيهن وما يتلى عليكم في الكتاب من يتامى النساء اللاتي لا تؤتوهن ما كتب لهن وترغبون أن تنكحوهن والمستضعفين من الولدان. Rabbi subhanahu wa ta'ala warns in this surah from oppressing women. And masakin, the men, they don't say there is no ayah that warns women from oppressing men. SubhanAllah. It doesn't mean that you are all oppressors, but you can take some oppression. But do not oppress.
Which is the ayah? Which is the
ayah? This ayah called Ayatul Kalala. This is, it has even inheritance, it has a unique hukum. We call it Hukm al-Kalala. It's one single ayah. One single ayah speaks about this, inshallah. Maybe Allah willing, you can add it to the list. If Allah give us a life, anyway. And also, they think most of my sisters, they say Allah only speaks about the nashes from woman. Allah doesn't speak about the nashes from man. Were you about to say that? Because you are wrong. Allah mentioned also about the nashes of man.
No, I was going to ask that. So
Yeah.
that's that situation is compromise.
It's not compromise. Let me tell you one thing. That one, you are speaking about when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said maw'idah. And that hukum is general. That hukum is general. And the hukum that comes for the nashes of the men also general. Do you understand? Yani Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said Abawayni, the two fathers. Doesn't mean two fathers. No one has two fathers. It's making father and mother. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they are one, Allah quotes Abawayn. Mashi? Walidain. Walad is the one that will give us birth. So it should be mother. So we shouldn't say walid. Because the father is, we shouldn't call the father walid as well, because he doesn't give birth. But this is because they are one. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, يعني من أنفسكم خلق لكم. He created for you from yourself, your wives. So the ayah that is speaking in a feminine form, it applies to men, and this applies to women. You see?
But then does that mean that the woman can hit the man?
They have done that. You don't need the permission to do that. You need the permission to do that. Allah al-Azim, if you need the permission, there is no legislation that will give you the right to do that. They do it when they are upset, when something happens, that's it. But no one can do that. If they plan, then that is evil. If they plan, that is evil. So inshallah, if you do this, I will hit you. If you do this, so subhanallah, you make a plan for this. That is musibat.
If she went to a court.
Which court? Well,
this is what
the court. Look, now we don't have courts, but if it was to be a court of Sharia, do you know what the court of Sharia says? It goes always against many things. Like, I will tell you one thing. A man came to Sayyidina Umar, and I will tell you now, you will agree with this. Even so, there is a dhulm for the man. A man came to Sayyidina Umar. He got married, and he said, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, I got married and I'm divorcing my wife. He doesn't have to come to Umar. He can't divorce her. But he said, Sayyidina Umar said, why? He said, I got married to her, and subhanAllah, she wasn't married before me, but she was with someone maybe. Sayyidina Umar said, wait. He took off his stick and he's been lashing him. He said, the main principle of marriage is to cover her and to cover you. Wallah, when I tell this story, most of the says, mashallah. But for him, for this man, why he was hit. So this is, if you were to come to the judge of Islam, then that is different. The hukum of Islam. This is what they do. This man is complaining from something, and then Umar is telling him, you are quoting the first principle of Islam. In marriage is to cover her, because Allah said, Hunna libasun lakum. So things are not like this. Plans. No one will plan to hit. And many men, subhanAllah, yani, one of our mashayikh maskin, yani, his wife was hitting him. And this was some people knew about it. And one of the Salihin, his maqam is in Hadramaut as well. His wife was hitting him and she was pouring hot water on him. He was having sabr. Then they told him, Shaykh, everyone will be happy to marry you. All these women, they love you. He said, I don't want to force her. Then she get married to another Muslim, so she will be adab for another man. So khalas, I take the adab for the ummah. Good people, subhanAllah, in both sides. And this is what we want. We want ya akhi, to deal with each other for the sake of Allah and for Allah. If you go to the details, you will find all these problems. Mashi? Yeah, but I know. But I just want to highlight a few things. Yeah. I know we are a bit late. In this surah as well speaks about Isa alayhi salam. And that Sayyidina Isa is high as well, and it tells us the details of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. And with this advertise we can leave now. ربنا انفعنا بما علمتنا بعلمنا ما ينفعنا ربنا لا تؤاخذنا.
Thank you for listening to the Quran Tafsir, Understanding the Word of Allah. Help Seekers Hub give light to millions around the world by becoming a monthly donor at seekershub.org/donate. Your donations are tax deductible in the US and Canada.